The original melanated people of this planet, who were once the perfect picture of health, are now leading in nearly every preventable disease globally. Our indigenous foods and cultural practices kept us 95% disease-free. Over time, as we adopted a foreign dietary lifestyle, our physical and mental health severely declined. I gathered over 15 years of experience as a registered nurse and African holistic practitioner to address this complex challenge in my new book, High Vibration Nutrition. This is a simple guide to healing through our culture and flourishing in wellness once again. Get the High Vibration Nutrition book by Banaset Kain Sekmet at Amazon. Also, get limited edition autographed copies of the book at kemeticwellness.com. Peace, Chem family. It's me, Banaset, your African holistic health nurse for Kemetic Wellness, and I'm back with another video. So today we are going to be talking about the New Age, so-called New Age spirituality to white Jesus pipeline. Okay, we're going to be talking about those who run back to Jesus when they don't get their way. If you're new here, my name is Banaset. I help Black people heal generational pain through African holistic health so you can live your true purpose. Here at Kemetic Wellness, we heal ourselves using language, energy medicine, nutrition, and sacred movement. So if any of that resonates with you, please keep watching. Okay, so this video was actually inspired by a video that a content creator recently posted. Okay, and in that video, she said that in 2025, she is leaving behind anyone who reads their daily horoscope, anyone who uses tarot cards and crystals and herbs, and that the blood of Jesus is the only way. Okay. She also says that she's been praying for a boyfriend for years, walking around with a rose quartz crystal in her bra, and she still hasn't gotten her boyfriend. Okay, so I guess she felt the need to run back to white Jesus, okay, because Jesus is the only way. And so I'm going to respond to this video, and this video is not directed at her personally. I want to make that clear. This is why we are not mentioning her name, okay? So please don't mention her name because we don't do mess over here, okay? I am simply using her statements to spark a conversation on this topic. If you know, you know, okay? This is important because she's not the first Christian turned so-called New Age spiritualist who ran back to white Jesus, okay? She's not the first one that I've seen. So we're going to have this conversation today. And from what I've noticed, there's usually three main reasons why I see people do this, okay? The first reason is that you've had bad experiences or hardships that you didn't know how to work through. That's the first reason I see them do this, okay? The second is that they may have had a spiritual encounter, like a visit with some type of spirit that they did not understand. And number three is that they just didn't get their way, okay? So let me explain to you the reason why a lot of Christians turned so-called New Age spiritualists run back to Christianity on their spiritual journey. And the number one reason that I've noticed is fear. That's the number one reason. Religious programming is very much fear-based. Okay, I work with people all the time who are extremely fearful of spirituality, especially anything that is related to African spirituality. And spirituality is simply your relationship to creation without any middleman. That's all it means. And they are fearful because their biblical teachings tell them that anything outside of the parameters of that stupid book is demonic and will get them a first-class ticket to hell. Okay, that's the reason they are afraid. Okay, they strongly believe that everything and anything involved in helping you to gain spiritual clarity that doesn't involve Jesus will eventually lead you to hell. And this is the reason that when they have very challenging life experiences, instead of learning the lessons of those experiences, they just chalk it up to, well, God must be punishing me for doing all this spiritual stuff. Okay? That fear of going to hell starts to kick in, and they think that they're being punished. So they start to run from these challenges. Okay? They run from these challenges because they are unaware that it's actually those challenging experiences that's going to give you the wisdom, the discernment, and also the skill to handle those next levels of your life that you say you want to go to. Okay? The reason that people never obtain certain levels in their life is because you cannot handle them. You, as you are in your current state, cannot handle them. You don't have the skill, you don't have the intuition, you don't have the wisdom or the discernment to handle them. And it takes those particular life lessons to get the stuff that you would need to be made of in order to fit those shoes, in order to fill those shoes. Okay? Life itself is an initiation process. Okay? It's a seasoning. All of your life experiences are cultivating you to be who you say you be. Okay? But for many people, when they have these experiences, especially those who are raised Christian or Muslim, or deep in any type of fear-based religion programming, they think that those experiences mean that they need to be saved by Jesus, that they're experiencing some type of judgment or wrath from God. And so they think all the things that they're doing spiritually is causing that. So they run back to Christianity. Okay? That's one of the reasons why I see people do it. Another reason why I see people run back to Christianity on their spiritual journey is that their journey was never African centered to begin with. Yeah. Okay. When your journey is African centered, there is a decolonization process that happens, meaning that there's a return to self. Okay. You must learn on your spiritual journey. You must learn about the ways in which we were forced into other religions. Okay. We did not just become Christian because some missionaries came to Africa and, they said, we want to spread the word of God to you. And you listened, you read the Bible, you heard their teachings, and you said, you know what? Yes, that makes so much more sense than what all of my ancestors for all of eternity have been teaching us for thousands of years. That makes so much more sense. You know what? I think I'm going to go with that. That's not how that happened. Okay? That's not how that happened. You were forced into Christianity and Islam on the other end of the barrel of a gun. Okay? That's how you became a Christian. On the other end of a gun barrel. Or on the other end of a whip. Or on the other end of the complete decimation of your villages. And when you went to call on your own ancestors and your own deities, they said, I'm your God now. Anything you need, you call on me. Okay? That's how you became a Christian. So even schools, okay? The reason that religion was in schools is because that's why the schools were created in the first place. Their schools were created for the sole purpose of teaching their religion. It was an indoctrination camp. Christian and Catholic schools were indoctrination camps. Okay? In those schools, you are not allowed to speak your indigenous languages. You are not allowed to practice your native culture or spirituality. Okay? Everything that made you who you are was beaten out of you, literally and figuratively. Okay? There's actually a great book on this that teaches how that happened, and I have it right here. It is called Of Water and the Spirit by Malidoma Somé. This is the book. Okay? If you've never heard of it, it is actually an excellent book that teaches you what it's like to grow up in an African village and be called away to Christian or Catholic schools and to be indoctrinated and have your culture completely stripped from you and all of your indigenous ways stripped from you and the different cruel ways in which that was done. It's actually one of my favorite books. Okay. So all of Judean Christian religions are inherently anti-African because they're constantly teaching you that your indigenous ways and your culture is demonic. So all of those things that she mentioned, different forms of divination, the use of herbs, which is like, it's food. I don't even understand how people call herbs demonic. Herbs, crystals, you use precious gemstones every single day, diamonds, sapphires, rubies, but then you claim other crystals are demonic. It's so unintelligent. So all of those things, your ancestral connection, yoga, I've heard people say yoga, meditation, it's all demonic. And the reason that is demonic is because it's your culture. That's why. Is because the more and more you use these ancestral tools, the more you are able to remember who you truly are. And the more you will realize that you have been bamboozled. That's why. When you know who you are, nobody can superimpose their ideas about you, their abuse, the things that they want you to believe about yourself. They can't superimpose that over you. So they have to strip you of all those things to make you into who they want you to be. Okay? So a lot of people who go into spirituality from a new age perspective and not an African centered perspective, most of the time they are using these tools in the same way that they use religion, which is belief based. They only know what it is based on what somebody else told them. They don't know what these tools are and how to use them symptomatically, meaning it is what it is. They don't know what they are intrinsically. If you knew what an herb was, you could never say something so stupid. You're not messing with people who use herbs. You mean like basil and cilantro? That is so dumb. That is so dumb. Okay, so they're using these things the same way they use religion, which is belief based. It's not based on any type of logic or religion. That's what religion, sorry, it's not based on any type of logic or reason. That is what religion is. Religion is belief based. They only know what something is based on what somebody told them, and they're not necessarily interested in proof, logic, or reason. Okay? People who are religious are believers. That's why they call themselves believers. They're not necessarily interested in truth at all. This is why when you tell religious people something that's plain as day in reality, they will reject it if it does not align with their beliefs. Okay? Because they're not interested in the truth. They're only interested in their own beliefs. Okay? So the way that they're using spirituality is it's not African centered. So they're not learning it from their own cultural perspective. They may have learned about some things from like a white Kundalini yoga teacher or, you know, a tarot reader at a crystal shop or something like that. What you don't really understand when you do that is that these people don't have the cultural connection to be able to put those things in the proper spatial perspective for you. Okay. That's the problem when you learn about spirituality from a perspective that's outside of an African paradigm. Is even when you're given some really, really helpful tools or information, you cannot use them because you can't make sense of them. Okay. And I know that's really difficult for people who believe that we are all the same and we are all one. Yes, you can say that we are all human. Okay. We'll just say that for argument's sake. Yes, you can say we are all human, but no, we are not all the same. You, as the original human being on the face of this planet, you are connected to the oldest human beings on the face of this planet. Your DNA runs very, very deep. You cannot take information from someone who came after you in the human family and think that that's going to solve your deep ancestral wounds. Yes, you can learn things from them that is helpful. Okay, you can use certain tools and it is helpful. So, for example, you can get a Reiki treatment from anybody that can relax you. You can get a massage treatment from anybody that can relax you. You can do acupuncture. All of these things, they may be helpful, but there's deeper work that you need to do. And you need to connect with those of your ancestry in order to get that deep connection, in order to get the right perspective. They don't have that information for you. They just don't have it. It's not an insult to anybody else, but they cannot help you on that level. Okay? Now, some of y'all not going to like me saying that, but it is what it is. Okay? That's why I keep telling you your healing is in your culture. Okay? The next reason why I see people running back to Christianity is that they have some sort of negative supernatural experience that scares the hell out of them. Okay. And typically they just don't know what to do with it. It's usually something that scares them. They have a visit with a spirit, a ghost, something, and they don't know how to protect themselves. They are scared as hell because they never had that type of experience and they don't know what to do with it. You have people who have been into spirituality, of course, not from an African centered perspective, talking about, I was a whole high priestess. And after I had that experience, that was it for me. I don't know how you have 20-year-olds talking about they were a high priestess. I don't know 20 and 30-year-olds, high priestess with no training. I don't know how you could possibly think that was true. But that's what you hear people saying. Okay. I was a whole high priestess and then I had this bad spiritual encounter. I saw this ghost and I grabbed my Bible and ran right back to Jesus. I have questions. I have questions, okay? Sir, ma'am, how are you a high priest or a high priestess with no initiation? Some of these people have been through no initiation whatsoever. Talking about they initiated themselves. They did a self-initiation. You cannot self-initiate. That's why y'all be going through these problems. You cannot self-initiate. There's no such thing. I don't know who told you that. I don't know who told you you could do that. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a self-initiation. Now, you don't need to go through an initiation in order to live a spiritual life or even in order to be on a spiritual journey. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. You don't need to go through initiation for that. Okay? So if you are just on your spiritual journey and using certain spiritual tools to help you on that journey, you are praying, you're meditating, you are communing with your ancestors, etc., that's fine. You don't need to go through initiation for that. But when you get into deeper rituals and spiritual practices and even trying to practice on others with no guidance, this is where you get yourself into problems because you don't know what you're doing. Nobody who is a high priest or high priestess runs away from spirituality because they had a bad experience with a spirit. That's unless you was doing something you wasn't supposed to do. Okay? You have to be doing some things that you are not supposed to do. And typically that happens with people who don't go through proper initiation rituals. They just start practicing things that they don't know about. Okay? This is when them spirits start spiriting, okay? And you get spooked. And you run back into the arms of white Jesus. Okay? Because you had no idea what you were doing in the first place. Maybe you read some books, okay? Maybe you took a few classes and watched a few YouTube videos, okay? Or a few TikTok videos, okay? And boom, bam, you're a high priest or a high priestess. Oh my goodness. Just because you have spiritual gifts, it does not mean that you have the experience or the knowledge on how to harness them properly. Okay, you can't just skip past certain things and say you're a high priest and high priestess and you initiated yourself. These types of things, initiations, are done in community. Okay. If you know about any traditional African spiritual system, these are things that are done in community. They are done under an elder priest or priestess, okay, which is a jegna. You always have a jegna, and it's done as part of a culture. It's done as part of a culture. You don't just take different things from different places and mix them all together, and you don't even know what you're doing, okay? The reason that you have an elder priest or priestess guide you through an initiation is so that you can process these types of experiences with wisdom. Okay? When you start practicing things that you don't understand because you are so-called self-initiated, you will find yourself in trouble that you don't know how to get out of. Okay? You're going to have spiritual experiences that you don't understand, and you're not going to know how to protect yourself from certain things. Okay. You always want to have an elder, priest, or priestess who is more knowledgeable than you, who is guiding you. Okay. But if you're just going to people who mess around with crystals, or people of other cultures who really don't have that deep spiritual knowledge, you have to remember African people, this is our stuff, and we taught everybody else around the world. We taught everybody. Okay. So your white tarot reader at your local crystal shop, she cannot help you doing that deep spiritual work that you need. She cannot help you. Okay. There's certain history that you need in order to put your memory back together. There's so much that was lost from us across the diaspora, and they do not have that knowledge because it is cultural. Okay. Another reason why people run back to what? Jesus on their spiritual journey is because they do not do shadow work. They do not do shadow work. Okay. For those of you who don't know what shadow work means, it means that you take a pen and a paper and a mirror and you look at yourself. Okay. You ask those questions that you need to ask yourself in order to reveal the things about yourself that you are hiding, those shadows, those fears, those insecurities. Okay, those things that are deep within your subconscious mind that are affecting your conscious behavior. They're affecting the things that you do in your daily life, and they're affecting your relationships and everything, your work, your self-esteem, your whole worldview. This is what shadow work is. You have to be a very brave person to do shadow work. Most people do not do shadow work, which is why they lack self-awareness. Okay. And this is why a lot of people behave in ways that are a result of things that they experienced in their childhood and things that they've seen in their families and their communities. And because they never do the work to uncover those subconscious patterns of thinking, they don't see the different ways in which their behavior is affected. And they don't see that those are the reasons why they don't get their way in their life, why certain things did not manifest. So, for example, with this particular content creator who says she's been carrying around rose quartz in her bra for 12 years and she still hasn't met her boyfriend. She still didn't get her boyfriend. Okay. Like she likes to say. Okay. How much inner work has she done to see what it is that she needs to change on the inside to align with the type of person that she says she wants? Okay. So not doing shadow work, that is the number one thing that y'all are doing wrong. That's the number one thing y'all are doing wrong. Talking about you're spiritual because you burn sage and you wear crystals. And some of you have no idea about the use of any of those things. You're just using it the same exact way that you use Christianity. If you hear that noise in the background, that is I guess it's the boiler. Sorry. Okay. So they use it the same way that they use Christianity, which is just what somebody told them. They don't know the intrinsic properties of these things. She doesn't know how crystals work. Like, to think that you're going to put a rock in your bra and that's going to be the thing that attracts a man to you without doing any work. Okay? That's what's called symbolic thinking. You only know what something is based on what somebody told you, not what it is intrinsically. Okay? And because you use it like a belief system, the same way you use Christianity, as soon as you do not get your way, you abandon it and run back to Jesus. Okay? Because the self-reflection is not there. You're still hiding from yourself. You're still hiding from yourself. And there's certain things about you and certain things about your life that you still have not tackled, that you still have not admitted to yourself. There's certain ways that you show up in your life that's a contradiction to what it is that you say you want. And because you lack accountability, which a lot of religious people do, and Because you lack accountability, you don't want to become aware of those things. That's why you don't do the self-reflection. That's why you don't do the shadow work and the mirror work. Because if you were aware, that means you would actually have to do something about it. It means you would actually have to make a change, which you do not want to do. Okay? You don't want to do the hard work. Spirituality is hard. It is hard. The spiritual journey is for gangsters only. Okay? Spiritual warriors are healers. Okay? Whatever it is that you think a gangster or a warrior is, it's not that. It's not somebody who walks around their community terrorizing everybody. It's someone who has faced every demon within themselves without running and who bodied every last one of them. That's what a gangster is. And a spiritual warrior is a gangster. It takes a certain level of gangster to go on a spiritual journey and actually complete your mission. Actually complete your mission. Actually show up as your authentic self. Actually do your real work. Everybody is not built like that. Okay? In spirituality, there is no judgment, there's only consequences. That's what a lot of people are running from. In religion, there's no consequences, but there is judgment. Only God can judge me. That's what you'll hear a lot of Christians say. Okay, so after I get done doing all of this sinful, wicked, contradictory, blasphemous, and hypocritical behavior, all I have to do is ask Jesus for forgiveness and be washed in the blood of Jesus. And all of my sins are washed away. All is forgiven. No accountability, no looking at yourself, no telling the truth about the ways in which you showed up, no taking accountability for the ways in which you harmed other people or correcting those things. There's no ma'at. All you have to do is ask Jesus for forgiveness. There's no reciprocity. There's no reparations, making other people whole, those who you have hurt. Okay? All you have to do is confess your sins to Jesus and all is forgiven. This is why a lot of Christians like their religion, because they get to be horrible people with no accountability. And only God can judge you. And all you have to do is ask Jesus for forgiveness, and it's all washed away and wiped away. And the truth is, reality doesn't work like that. Okay? Some of you have hurt plenty of good people in your life, and that karma is whooping your ass. And when you are getting your rightfully owed ass whooping, you think that you're actually being punished by God for doing this evil African voodoo. You do not believe in accountability, so you don't think it has anything to do with you and things that you've done, and you refuse to correct yourself. Okay? You refuse to correct yourself even when you are experiencing the karmic repercussions of your own behavior. Because you believe your life is falling apart because Jesus is punishing you for doing all that spiritual stuff. Okay? So now all your rocks and your herbs and your tarot cards are not helping you because you refuse to do your own work. And you're going through hell because of it, rightfully so, because it's universal law. Okay? It is universal law that whatever you put back or whatever you put out, you will reap it. Okay? And abandoning your own culture and your own spirituality is not the way. And that fake ass white boy on a stick cannot help you. Okay? But that's all I have for this video. Leave your thoughts about this in the comment section. If you are interested in learning more about African spirituality from an African centered perspective, the Kemetic Reiki Level 1 course begins on January 30th, okay? Open enrollment ends on the 25th, okay? If you don't know what Kemetic Reiki is and you want to learn more, we had a discovery class on this on January 11th. It has passed, but the recording is still available. If you go to kemeticwellness.com/programs, you can still take it. Again, enrollment for Kemetic Reiki Level 1 ends on January 25th. Okay? That's all I have for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.